So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus 1 month later experience. Now the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus does come in multiple colors, including the Phantom Black. We do have a cream color as well as lavender, and there are more color options available. You can even get some exclusive color options for this phone as well, including the graphite. You can also get a lime, and this one also does come in green as well. So if you're looking for different color options, it has it. Now, speaking of a price point perspective, this phone right here does retail right around $999, and if you missed a pre-order, you're kind of out of luck. You're gonna have to pay the full price at this point right now. But this phone will be coming down, and there will be discounts because usually Samsung phones don't stay at their full price for very long. You also can go ahead and take advantage of a trade-in value on Samsung's website to go ahead and get the price down further, or if you're not paying for it full price, you can just get it on a carrier deal and pay monthly on the phone. Now, when it comes to the body and the build 1 month later, I gotta tell you, I still really like it. You'll find yourself polished aluminum edges right here and a very symmetrical look. So the camera housing, there is none. It's just kind of like separated cameras right here, and they kind of line up perfectly on the left. You'll also find yourself the volume rockers here on the right side. They're placed a little bit high, so if you got smaller hands, you'll probably want the smaller S23, but you do have your power button right there. And this Phantom Black color option is quite nice. However, I did find myself to get a little bit of a nick right around there somewhere. It's very small, but it just goes to show that this polished aluminum can get chipped. So do keep it in a case if you're worried about little nicks and scratches like that. You'll find yourself the USB-C right there and speaker grill, as well as the SIM card tray. Now, one thing that's really nice about this phone is the weight of it. So it's got a nice feel to it at only 196 grams. This is more like a large phone with a lighter body, so it's quite nice. On the back, you do have Gorilla Glass Victus, and it does have that matte texture, so when you are, getting fingerprints on it, it doesn't show too much, although you can still wipe it down if it shows a little too much. I also appreciate the flat front screen. It's made it very easy for me to put the screen protector on. Even if I don't do a perfect job, it's a lot easier than putting a screen protector on a curved screen, which I think curved screens suck when it comes to putting screen protectors on. If you're a no screen protector fan, then go with the curved screen. You'll probably be pretty happy, but I like to keep my screens in mint, pristine condition, and so for that reason, I have to be on the fence of, or on the side of the person who likes a more flat display. That's definitely me, and I like to wipe my phones down a lot, kind of like this. So this one, I quite enjoy the flat display. Overall, the body and the build, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing overly flashy, but it's clean, it's businessy, it's classy. It just looks good. It's just a really good, well-designed, well-executed smartphone. Now, when talking about the display, we are looking at a 6.6-inch display. This is a dynamic AMOLED 2X, so it's still a very good display. However, one thing you're not going to get on here is a 2K resolution. That's a little bit disappointing for Samsung fans because we used to have the 2K on the regular Plus model. Now Samsung is cheaping out a little bit and giving you 1080p. I really dislike this for $999. I will say, even a month later, I don't like the fact that this phone is $1,000 and I'm getting a 1080p panel. That's ridiculous. Like, we get 4K TVs on sale, 70 inches for $400. Like, you're giving me a 1080p panel for $1,000 on a phone that's 6.6 inches? That's ridiculous. You can see right here, standard right there is definitely going to make the phone feel a little bit more laggy with the display, so definitely keep it in the adaptive. But that's one really good thing about it, is that in the adaptive 120 Hertz, it's a very smooth panel. And let me give it its pros and give it its credit where it's due. The brightness is ridiculously high. You can get very bright screen, and you can also turn on some extra brightness right here. Also, with this display, it can get very vivid and it has great viewing angles. It's a quality 1080p panel. If you're going to put a 1080p panel, Samsung put one of the best ones on the market on here. So you're definitely not missing out too much when it comes to actual display quality. But you still are missing out on that pixels per inch. So if you like to read a lot on your phone, It's not that this will be bad, but one thing about it is that it's not going to be as sharp as some of the other offerings out there that you'll find at this price point. So definitely, I'm a little bit disappointed with the fact that Samsung went with 1080, but overall, I still really like the panel. It hits 1750 nits peak, which is crazy. And of course, you'll have an always-on display on this phone as well, so that's great, and an in-display fingerprint sensor. Now you do get the Android 13 software on board here, and you also get One UI 5.1. Now, without making this video forever long, I will tell you one of the main things I really appreciate about this is just the multitasking features, the ability to split screen, pop view, stuff like that. It's pretty great here for this phone, although you can get this on pretty much any Samsung phone, so you don't have to go with this one to get it. It's still nice. I also really like the widgets and the overall polish that they've been coming along with over the years. These Samsung phones are now a lot more polished and they feel really good by comparison to some other cheaper Android phone offerings. So definitely this feels like a more high-end experience, so you kind of get what you pay for. Also, the settings menu is very clean, and they found a way to balance a lot of features with also making it easy. So like when you're looking for something, for example, let's say we're looking for performance, right? There'll be like a little thing where it like pops up and like shows you where it's at, like it'll little flash and like it'll show you where things are at. So this whole experience is just easy to use, and it has a lot of advanced features if you want to dig deeper. So it can be simple, like with just a few applications on the home screen, or if you want, you can start theming it out and changing a bunch of things, icons, always on displays. You can do all that for yourself if you want as well, and dig into, you know, your app screen grids, your home screen grids, and all that stuff. But overall, I gotta say, it's been a very good software experience. Smooth animations are good. The phone is very fast with its Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. A month later, I'm very happy to report that this phone performs great, and it does not have that overheating you would expect from some other Samsung phones. It does really good with heat management, and it's fast and animations are good. No stutters, no lags. I also gotta say that the chipset has been great. You can play a lot of games with this phone very easily. You can multitask, everything you wanna do. It's very fast, like it's more powerful than you probably need. Also, I'm happy to report that Samsung has already launched about 2 updates since I got this phone. So they're definitely keeping them supported. So you don't have to worry about, I'm not gonna get no updates and stuff like that. No, you will get plenty of updates with this phone right here. So when it comes to the cameras, this is definitely one of the stronger points of this phone. Now, I will say that it's not as strong as what you're gonna find on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, but with these cameras, you do get quite a good amount of options. And I'm actually recording this video on its smaller brother, the Galaxy S23. So you can see right there, the pictures are just vibrant. They just look very good, and you have the ability to go into 8K video on this phone. This is a really good consumer-based camera with the options to go a little bit deeper if you want to get, start diving into pro video and stuff like that. It's got a lot of options on top of being easy. I also like the customizability of the way you can take these features and bring them down here and move them around. It kind of reminds you of Android's home screen customizations, but Samsung throws that on top. But some of the nicest features here, you have director's view, which is what I did in my last video, allowing you to use the front and the rear camera to take video. You have night mode, hyperlapse, pro videos, pro photos, but even if you never go in there, you still have a very feature-packed regular camera right here, where you can go and change the aspect ratios. You can go to 50 megapixel. You also have different filters right here. And I just love how Samsung's features are all front and center. They're not hard to find, and it's just easy to use this camera. It's a really great consumer-based camera. You can also hold down for some quick video action right there. And then on top of that, you do have portrait and a really good night mode as well on this phone. So nightography, very good on this. Now also the front-facing camera is very good also. They did a good job with making the front-facing skin tones look better than before. They don't have that soft Chinese look on those Chinese phones is what I'm talking about. Those Chinese phones have like a softer look, cooler look. This one looks really good, and I would say second best to something like the iPhone when it comes to these photos. Some people would disagree and say it looks better, and that's okay. Personally, we all have our own take on things, but honestly, I do think you're going to be very happy with this overall camera. It looks good on both front and rear. So take a look at my few samples I've taken. I actually took these yesterday because I'm still using this phone right now. And you can go ahead and judge for yourself what you think of the Galaxy S23 Plus. Now, the battery life is something I'm also quite happy with as well on this phone. You know, it just lasts and lasts and lasts. So if we go into settings here, let me back it out a little bit. If we go into settings over here and we go down here to battery, you'll find yourself having very strong battery life. And you also have good power saving modes and the ability to charge very fast and have wireless power sharing and reverse wireless charging. So Samsung has a very large battery on this phone while still giving you an incredible, amount of features on here. So while I did argue that the screen is not as impressive as it used to be, having a 4700 milliamp hour battery in here with a 1080p screen, it makes up for it in the battery life. You guys are going to be very happy with the experience of the battery. It just lasts and lasts and lasts. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the battery life. I also like that it charges fast, but it doesn't charge quite as fast as something like a OnePlus phone or even some of the Xiaomi phones out there today. Now, connectivity is very strong as well. We do have, really good phone call quality, 5G network, and also we do have, really fast transfer speeds, like much faster than we used to have years ago. So if you're looking for some of the fastest transferring speeds for taking video off your phone or taking files off your phone, having UFS 4.0 is a breakthrough for, technology and transferring. So definitely it's huge. Also, Wi-Fi 6E is on board. In addition to that, 5.3 Bluetooth. I mean, you're set for years to come. So while that $999 price tag can seem a little bit scary, you got to realize you're getting bleeding edge tech in here with just a couple of sacrifices. No expandable memory, which is kind of annoying on this phone, but again, you're still getting bleeding edge of connectivity, and also you're getting, a lot of features thrown in here that you would not typically find around this price point. And I say around this price point because, a lot of phones out there do make cuts and then they try to upsell you to the larger phone. And Samsung does that here as well with the S23 Ultra. But I say that this phone is good for its price tag because if you take a look at something like the iPhone 14 Plus, just put a little more storage in that phone and it's already exceeding the price of this phone, and I don't think it offers quite as much as this phone offers. The audio quality has also been pretty stellar, especially when you turn on the Dolby Atmos mode. So you'll go up here and you'll find Dolby Atmos, and it gets louder and it's just more crisp. So just a nice add-on thing I want to talk about. And lastly, I do want to discuss a month later with some of the extras. So having Samsung DeX is really game-changing. I actually use this with my Samsung M8 monitor, and it really works very well. It's wireless. With certain monitors, you can just connect this thing without even putting a plug in there. So that's pretty incredible, honestly, to have a whole computer in your pocket with just having to buy a monitor. Most people can afford a cheap monitor and a smartphone, and then you have a full computer. That is awesome. It's like really hard to beat that feature. Also, Samsung is improving their ecosystem as well. They have Galaxy Books, Galaxy Buds, they have all kinds of stuff that really completes the ecosystem now, watches and everything. So I have to say, I'm giving them credit where credit's due. A month later, you can really go to town on your ecosystem with this phone as well, if you want to. So at the end of the day, 1 month later, is the Galaxy S23 Plus worth it? Yes, I think for a lot of people, this phone is going to be the ideal sweet spot. It's for people who don't care about all the greatest features, but they want a really good phone with good cameras, good battery, good usability, and very usable camera. They don't have to go too pro with it because this one is more of a consumer grade camera with just the stuff you need. I think if somebody doesn't want the smaller S23, but they don't like the curved, squared, boxy S23 Ultra, you have a great option here. However, if you're a type of person who is going to be disappointed in no expandable memory, you want a 2K screen, you want a little more spec for your money, there are better offerings than this out there. But in terms of an overall polished software experience, giving you a total package of features, with just a couple of sacrifices, I think you're going to be a very happy buyer if you picked up the Galaxy S23 Plus. I'm definitely very happy with it. Although I wish it was like $100 or $200 less, just simply because it doesn't have a 2K screen. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Galaxy S23 Plus. If you've had it a while, consider sharing your experience with the community down below in the comments. Everything you learned about it since you've had it, as it does help other people decide if this is going to be the phone for them. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.